right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Confidently Be You. My name is Jennifer Shlomovich, and I interview others who share their journey with overcoming fear, challenges, and the expectations of others. Today, my special guest is Laura, who is an Akashic Records Tarot reader. She accompanies you to connect with your truest self, your guides, your soul, and your story. As a clairtangent, Laura blends her gift of touch with the Akashic Records, Tarot, and Reiki with crystals. She offers one-to-one sessions via Zoom, and she also offers written readings. Laura has given Akashic Record Tarot readings to both English and Spanish speakers in Europe, North, Central, and South America. Laura, welcome, and thank you for taking time out of your busy day to share your confident story with us.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and talk to you about anything and everything having to do with confidence. It's something that I've worked on for so long, and so excited to talk about it today.
Awesome. Yeah, and especially when you are a business owner and you're creating your own content for things, it can be a challenge to keep going, because we're so used to when we've worked for other people for so long, and then it comes to being our own boss. It can be very intimidating because we're so used to people directing us on where to go.
Sure. Yes, I completely agree.
So before we get started, can you just explain a little bit about what the Akashic Records are, just in case anyone who's watching isn't sure?
Of course. So the Akashic Records are a metaphysical library of your complete soul history. So every single experience, emotion, interaction you've had with other souls along your lifetime and lifetimes, because keep in mind, this is a book of your soul. So you've come to earth many times, you've had many lifetimes. So every single lifetime you've had, there's been an imprint. And so it's been recorded in this book, in this realm, or drive, a cloud. And so all this information is stored away. And so when you feel called to access your own records or have a reading with someone, your guides and guardians are these energies. It could be energies, angels, loved ones, star seeds, spirit animals. They guide you in your journey along your life. And so when you have this calling to be able to access that information and access your guides, they provide you with snippets of information that has to do with your past lives, or anything that's related to why you're asking a question or something going on with your life. You're able to access this information, and it's pulled from this vast book that contains all these interactions and emotions, or anything that has been imprinted in these pages. So you're able to gather information as to why you keep repeating a pattern, or why certain things happen in your life. So you're able to get like a deeper understanding as to why this is happening, and what tools you have at your disposal to be able to break away from it, heal it, or just work through this theme so you could change it and not repeat it any longer. So that's what the Akashic Records are, is basically the history of your soul. And everybody has an Akashic Record, everybody has a soul, and everybody is able to access it yourself, or you could go with a reader, somebody that could access it on your behalf and ask the questions that you feel called to ask. You will never receive any bad information that's going to make you fearful or anxious or anything like that, because the Akashic Records are filled with unconditional love, and all the information that you receive is information that you need at that moment. And all the information is based out of unconditional love. So when you access your own records, or you have someone access, it's like you're talking to your best friend, because you're talking to yourself, really. And the information that is being pulled through is information that you've known, but you haven't trusted, or don't believe that it was meant for you. And having another person, a stranger, provide this information that you've known is really validating and like a huge confirmation that everything that you know is right for you is still ingrained in you. But oftentimes, because of programming or our experiences, anything that we're going through, we don't fully trust. So accessing the Akashic Records is basically going back to yourself, to your guides and your stories. So that is why I love the Akashic Records, and they're just beautiful.
Thank you for that explanation. Yeah, it's basically, it's a database and connection to that this whole support team. And I never even heard of the Akashic Records until about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
and then little by little, and then I've had a few readings with you, which have been amazing experiences. And at first too, like was very hard for me to like share this kind of stuff with people, because you don't know how people are going to judge you for being into things, because it's different, but it is becoming more mainstream. I've noticed more people are starting to get into this and realize that it's a powerful personal development tool, because it really helps with that self-connection and that ability to become more confident. And I've certainly become more confident with myself as we've done readings together, as well as I've dabbled in doing my own readings and all of that. So it is really powerful work.
It is. It really is. It really is. And I tell everyone, you know, if you don't know what they are and you have this interest in knowing, just Google it, go on Instagram. There's a lot of Akashic Records readers there. People do their certain way of accessing them, but it's all about the intention as to why you want to access them, and you will always access them.
Yeah, and my recommendation is just try, if you're like curious about it, just enter it with some curiosity, and you might end up learning some very interesting things about yourself.
Of course, yes, for sure.
So getting back to the topic of confidence, Laura, what is your confidence story?
My confidence story, well, it's a long one, but I'm gonna not try to go so much into detail. But for me, confidence has been really, really hard, because as a child, I was always bullied in school. So that made me become very, very quiet and just stay in the background. That was like my safety zone, just being in the background, behind the scenes. As long as no one saw me or acknowledged me, I was totally fine. And so I took that, like learning that, knowing of, as long as I'm in the back and nobody sees me, I'm going to be okay. That's how I lived my life in school, and then even in the workforce. When I would go and interview for a job, I always wanted to know if I had to do presentations, if I was going to be in front of a group of people, and that really molded the position for me, as if I was going to excel in it or not, because I excelled behind the scenes. And so as I continued in years in the workforce, I started noticing that I wanted to be more outspoken and just be more comfortable in speaking, and knowing that I'm not going to be bullied or made fun at because of my accent or just because of my voice. And my voice has been a huge issue, because I've always been told that I have a thick, strong voice. And I don't know if I should take that as a compliment or like be embarrassed, because oftentimes when I speak over the phone, someone hasn't seen me, they imagine I'm an way older person. Then when they see me in person, they're just shocked because my voice doesn't fit my body. I don't know. So it was really hard for me to just really speak and not be embarrassed. But transitioning from, going to a job to launching myself as a Akashic Records Tarot reader, again, it's me working through that fear of allowing myself to be seen, because I feel I need to allow myself to be seen. It's something that I need to work on, because it's like a trauma that I'm working through, allowing myself to be seen, because in doing so, I'm healing that trauma, but I'm also connecting with people, and people are seeing who I am and what I'm all about. And doing this work has really helped me step into that confidence and knowing that I'm uniquely me, and that's okay. My voice is mine, and that's okay. My voice is not supposed to be like someone else's. I'm not supposed to look like anyone else. And especially in the way that I do my work, it's me, unique to me. And that this work has helped me step more into that role of just allowing myself to speak my truth and just being grounded in the work that I do, and knowing that my voice is supposed to connect with a person or the people that are meant to connect with me. And really, it's just goes back to like trusting and just surrendering to the fact that I have a voice and it's okay to use it. And it's really hard for me to be in front of the camera today. To like, I'm so nervous being in front of the camera right now, having this interview. But at the same time, I'm elated and happy to do so, because that's another step forward into being confident in the work that I do, and being confident and feeling okay with speaking. And that's just huge for me.
Thank you for sharing that. I can relate so much to your story in my own way. I was also bullied a lot in school for various reasons. And for the longest time, I wanted to just hide and be behind the scenes. And then as I became an adult, just various events came to the point where I needed to speak up for myself and advocate for myself. And if I didn't do that, my life would just continue towards a downward spiral of just stress and anxiety and just a lot of, chaotic things that I was dealing with at the time. And then finally hitting that point where I did a lot of inner work on myself for many years. And then connecting to the Akashic Records and spirituality and just different practices that helped me connect with myself and trust myself more, really helped with that. Also, when I, being a business owner also, and being a coach, there's a lot of coaches out there, and there's, you worry when you see how everyone else is doing something, and then you're like, oh, but I'm not like this person. And you start getting caught in your head about, how other people market themselves. And what I've become more comfortable doing is just, not getting caught up in what other people are doing. And like what you were saying, there are people out there who need something specific from us, and we're not for everybody, and everybody's not for us. So,
Exactly.
And the YouTube thing has certainly been a big push in my confidence, because I wanted to do a YouTube channel for like a good 3 years. And then I finally started doing it last year, which you were also a guest on. Yeah. And I still have the content up. It's like at the bottom of this channel. And so I did that for a bit under Conquer Your Chaos, and I just pushed myself. And I started to not allow the nervousness to take over and just get out of my head, and that need to control where everything's going, and just kind of flow in the moment and trust that things will happen the way they're meant to be. And then, so I did that for a little bit, and then I took a pause from YouTube because I needed to figure some things out, and now I'm back. And so we all have our own process, and everyone's way of doing things is going to be unique. And sometimes you have to set things down before you can pick them up again. And so one of the biggest lessons I've learned about confidence is you're still going to have fear, but you just don't let fear control your actions.
Exactly. And then that's the approach I've taken with social media and just allowing myself seen through my work. And one of those things was stepping back, because I felt I was forcing the content that I was creating, because I was allowing myself being influenced a little bit too much by other people, other readers, how they do their content, how they do their marketing. And I thought that I was doing it wrong. So in a way, I was kind of pushing the way that I was creating the content to be similar to how they were doing it, but then they didn't feel right with me. So I took a step back and put up that boundary of not allowing myself to immerse myself in this idea that I have to do it this way because that's how they're doing it. I'm coming back to myself and coming back to how it is that I work and how it is that I create, and coming back to my voice and as to what it is I want to communicate and why I'm communicating it and who I'm speaking to. Because again, the people I'm speaking to are specific to me, and I'm not speaking to everybody. And some other people might be more interested in these other readers than me and what I offer and how I operate, and that's okay. And coming back to that idea of I'm not for everyone, and the way that I do things is unique to me, and the way that I use my voice and my creativity is again unique to me, and how I create things are meant to be for the people that are meant to connect with me. And that has helped so much with my confidence, because I know that, again, I'm not for everyone. And the people that I have truly connected with, I feel I have had like this soul contract that I was meant to connect with these people, to provide a reading, to provide clarity. And I feel that they would have only obtained that clarity in that moment, in that way, through me. And that has really, again, helped a lot with my confidence, and just being really grounded in this idea of it's okay the way that I'm doing it and approaching my work, and just allowing myself to speak my truth and be confident in that, because that is who I am, and that's my work, and that's my medicine.
Yeah, that's also what I've learned too, is when we embrace our truth and what's true for us, it really creates this like liberating feeling of like freedom and joy and peace. And just what I've really become conscious of is when I feel like I have to force something versus flow. So when I create things, I'll check in with myself, is this force or flow? And yet sometimes you have to like push yourself to like not, push something off, but you know, if it's in flow with you, you know, it's something that's in alignment with you, versus when you feel like you're forcing something and it's like you're hitting, it just doesn't resonate at all. So just asking myself, is this a force or flow, has been helping me determine more like what I should be focusing my time and energy on. And that's really helped me a lot. And the other thing too that I've learned is, being a business owner and creating content, is you have to experience a lot of what you don't want to do first before you really know what is right for you. And being okay with that. Because I've learned a lot of like big lessons. And that's like with anything in life too, like with dating, like you don't know what kind of people you want to date.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or you don't like, or you're looking for, until you're like actually in there dating people. So it's like anything, you have to start experiencing something to really understand. And it's not, I've looked at the money that I've invested in things that didn't work out, or time and energy. I don't look at those things as a waste. They were what have helped prepare me to get to this point now.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. I always see that as, I didn't lose money or waste my time. I definitely learned something from it, because if I pursued and spent so much time doing something, for example, I did PR for 7 years, and I spent so much time and money in learning how to become a publicist, and invested so much time in marketing and in my website, and just to get clients. I don't see that as I wasted 7 years of my life and a lot of money went down the drain. I see that as an experience, as to I learned a few things from there that I could carry on with what I'm doing now. So I always see that as an opportunity to learn. You're always learning something. And it goes back to how we were saying that, is it you're forcing, or is it flowing? I see it as, am I being influenced, or am I being inspired? And I really have to take a step back and really look at what I'm doing. Am I being influenced because I saw something and I'm trying to force myself to do it that way? Or am I being inspired so then I could tap into my creativity and do it my own unique way? So that's where I go back to, am I being influenced, or am I being inspired when I'm creating content, or when I'm trying to do certain things that allow myself to be in front of the camera? Why? Going back to that intention, why am I doing this?
I love that. I love that other perspective on it. And what's showing up for me too is like, if something lights you up, like if something is challenging and scary and a lot of work, but it lights you up and it's exciting, then I have found that that's something that's been right for me. Like going back to school and getting a coaching certification, and then working on a business and there's a lot of time and effort and a lot of challenging growth I'm getting tongue tied here, a lot of steps that lead to challenge, to big growth. And, but even though it's hard work, it lit me up. So that being inspired is so important, because if it's a lot of work, but it lights you up and you're excited, then that is I feel a big breadcrumb that's telling you, hey, this is where you need to go.
Exactly. And that's how I see it too. Just when you get that hint of like, I want to immerse myself in this, I want to learn more, that's really a sign that is something that you should definitely follow, and just allow yourself to let whatever it is just unfold effortlessly and not push through. Just enjoy it, enjoy everything, because in doing so, you're really opening yourself up to receiving everything you need to receive, and just taking it in a way that fits you, and it is you, and you won't be pulled to becoming or molding yourself in a way that is not really you, but you stay on your own track and just absorb everything you need to be able to feel confident within yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've really seen how your work has evolved over the past year. You've really incorporated a lot of unique elements into your Akashic record readings. Can you share a little bit more about what you do and how you use all those different tools to help people?
Of course, yes. So when I started on this path, I actually started off as a yoga guide, but within doing the yoga and just guiding people, I really felt this want to be able to use more of my hands and just have more of a connection within those moments when I was guiding a group of people. And so I allowed myself to really explore as to other modalities that I could use to be able to tap more into like a deeper healing after a yoga practice. So I came upon the Akashic Records in early 2019. I loved the entire concept of them, and just knowing that anybody could access them, and then knowing that I could access it for like a group of people, just like the energy within that group, I could channel messages for them. And I thought, how amazing that would that be in Savasana, providing these messages for people in that moment. And so that's how I got into the Akashic Records. And so my career started molding into like going into like yoga and then Akashic Records. And being in the Akashic Records, I noticed that I wanted to use again my hands to be able to provide additional healing. So that's where I came upon Reiki, and I got certified in Reiki to be able to incorporate both of those modalities in a reading. Just because I'm working with the energy and just tapping into this like the energetic realm of the Akasha. I thought it was beautiful, just connecting Reiki within that healing as well was just beautiful. But then at the beginning of this year, I couldn't get the tarot out of my mind. I was just thinking about tarot and tarot and tarot. And so I decided to open my Akashic Records, pull the cards, and what the messages that were coming through my Akashic Records were being reflected in the cards. So I thought, wow, the tarot could be another tool for like confirmation and validation as to like the messages coming through the Akashic Records. So combining the Akashic Records with the tarot is just like a powerful tool to just have something in your hands that your guides are really showing you, and me pulling out the cards and showing you physically what the message is and how it incorporates and accompanies that card. It's just another powerful tool to trust within yourself and surrender to that, knowing that all these messages are here for you and are meant for you in that moment. And so combining all these modalities together, it's really been a whirlwind. It's just been a lot of up and down. It's just really allowing myself to again come back to myself and be confident in how I'm putting these modalities together and how they're working together, and just trusting and surrendering to that it's meant to be this way. And if it's effortless for me, it means that it's something I should supposed to be doing, because I didn't force any of it. It just came to me, and I just allowed myself to immerse myself in it and just combine it in just an effortless way. And to me, it just feels so easy working with the Akashic Records, with Reiki and the tarot, putting it all together, practicing yoga and doing meditations. It all just is effortless for me in my practice, and just being able to provide that for others is just like an amazing opportunity to continue in that healing.
That's a really amazing story that you just shared. It just goes to show how you don't know how different things that you have done or are doing and how they eventually all can connect and come together.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what I always tell people when they ask about my process and how I got into all these different healing modalities. And it was just, I was interested in something captured my attention. I just followed it with no expectation as to I'm meant to be doing this and this is it. No, nothing else. I always allow myself, if something became my interest, I would like search it, do a lot of research, see who was doing it. And if somebody was teaching a course and if I felt to take it, I would take it and just allow myself to just immerse myself in that new information and that new learning. And then just allowing myself to be creative and intuitively just merge it together and see what came through.
Awesome. Yeah, that's what I tell my clients. I say, follow your curiosity, because when you're curious about something, that means there's something about that your soul is connecting to that you may not realize what it is later. And maybe the actual thing may not be the thing that you're going to do, but maybe it's like going to lead you to the next thing. Sometimes these things can just lead you to a person that's going to lead you to another thing. So you never know how all these things connect. So I always tell people to just follow your curiosity and then the rest will get revealed. Another analogy I like to use is when you're driving a car at night and you have the headlights on and you can only see the part of the road that's right in front of you. But as you continue down the road, you start to see things get revealed to you as you keep traveling down the road. And so it's the same thing. Like we don't know, things don't get revealed to us until we keep moving. And then the next set of things gets revealed to us along the way.
For sure. I love that. And that's something that I often go back to whenever I'm feeling a little bit disconnected and not knowing what my next steps are. I always go back to what do I need to do today? And then whatever it is I need to do today, I know that tomorrow there's going to be something else I would need to do. And that to me is like these steps that I have in front of me. And I just have to take one step at a time to be able to continue down this path. And I might see an entire landscape, but I don't know exactly what's within that path. But as I continue going and walking, certain things will be revealed and I'll know exactly what to do next.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it may not make sense what you are feeling that you should be doing. For example, sometimes, like with my experience, it's sometimes not doing anything. Sometimes I'm told to just not do anything. And what when I ask myself, what do I need? Sometimes I just need to pull back and just because we feel like we have to constantly do
mm-hmm.
to make things happen. And sometimes we need to take a step back. Like our cell phones, we're so quick to recharge our cell phones when they're about to die.
Yeah.
But like we also have a battery. And if we don't take like that time, whatever it is, sometimes it's a week, sometimes it's 2, sometimes you just have to set something down
mm-hmm.
before you can pick it up again and have a new energy with it.
Of course. And I totally resonate with that because I've always been the person that's always been a go and always staying busy. And I've learned since last year that it's okay to like take a step back. You don't have to be busy all the time. You could just do nothing if that's something that is it's really uncomfortable with you. Sometimes it's doing nothing because by doing nothing, you're creating the space to really coming back within yourself and like really asking what it is that you need at that moment. And so I'm an avid reader. I've been for a long time. I have a huge collection of books, but because I've always been in this, mindset of being busy, I stopped reading years ago. And even though I still accumulated books, but I never made the time to read them until last year. I started really making the time to read. And when I read, I immerse myself in the book and the story, and I just love it. And that simple act of just sitting down and reading just shifts my entire energy and just my entire day because I'm giving that space and time for myself to be able to read. And that has inspired me so much in the work that I do and in other interests that I have, just by allowing myself to do the things that my mind, my ego constantly tells me, there's no time for that. You're wasting time. You need to stay busy. Those things, if you actually stop and notice and just, listen to your ego and knowing that your ego is trying to keep you busy, stop and do the things that you've been thinking about doing, that's going to open up so much for you.
Definitely. And I think a big part of that too is just society. Like it's go, 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 cram in as much as you can do. And I think one of the big lessons 2020 has taught a lot of people I've spoken with is you don't wait until you fall apart before you take time out for yourself. It's carving out that time for yourself. And I think too, when working from home, your time is not broken up as much because we had commutes and other things that broke up our time. Like I used to do a lot of my reading on the train going into work. And when that went away, it was like, where am I going to find time to do this? It was finding ways to create a natural separation between each task. So I feel like I think last year really created a new awareness for all of us on time management, where our time goes, and just being more conscious on how we break things up, because we were so used to having everything broken up for us because we had to go places.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Definitely. And I feel like last year has given us this opportunity to like sit within, our being, ourselves, and just facing certain things that we always like mask with, like being busy or like to-do lists and these obligations and responsibilities. And last year, I feel like we were all given this opportunity to really just sit and come back within ourselves and begin to make these shifts that really allow us to immerse ourselves in our confidence and knowing that what we want to do, we can do. The time is there, the space is there. We just have to take that first step to just accomplish it.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. So before we wrap up, where can people connect with you?
Of course, yes. So I'm more active on Instagram, but I do have a website. My website has all the social media handles. My website is laurastacylyra.com. I'm sure you'll put it in the notes.
Yep, I'm going to put it there too.
Perfect. Yeah, and the same website name is my brand name, and I'm on social media as Laura Stacy Lyra. And I talk about all the Akashic Records, Tarot, books, Reiki, because I'm, coming back to being confidently me. I'm planning to do lives on Instagram that have to do with yoga or meditation, and just really bringing that back to Tarot and the Akashic Records, and maybe connecting more with people in that way, and just allowing myself to, again, use my voice and just allow myself to be more present on social media so people could really see who I am and what I'm all about.
Awesome. Yes, I will definitely put the links in the show notes. Well, thank you again for joining me today and sharing your confidence story. I hope it's inspired those who tuned in. And if you want to check out an Akashic Records reading with Laura, I highly recommend her. I've had 3 very powerful readings with her. So I can attest that she's really great at what she's, and I've recommended friends too have had a great experience. So I highly recommend checking out Laura.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.